Review. We're really going to concentrate on just the quadratic functions today, but we're doing the transformations and that stuff is the same. Okay, so it should be a pretty easy lesson for you guys. All right, so just some review here. Well, let's do this to start. You guys work together with the people around you and see if you can match these up. All right. So match the function g with the graph down below. All right. So see which function goes with which graph. And again, just think about your translation and transformation and your stretches or your shrinks or compressions. You're moving up and down stuff. And think about, our parent function, which is what's f of x equal for quadratics? Right, x squared, right? Just think about that, where that is, and then look at those pictures and see where they're moving from there, what's happening. You guys can work with each other, talk to each other, discuss with each other why you think one goes with what. Ben, you're allowed to talk to Cindy. You don't like him? He's nervous. I don't blame him. He is kind of mean. Whole family. No, he is not. No, I'm just messing.
I know, I talked to Mommy, try to cool things off at night. It worked one day, and it's bad for morning.
I don't know how. ACDC, baby. No, it's part of it. Ain't no one told me how.
I'm thinking, did you get that one?
I think.
Yeah, I don't see it typing it in at all.
Well,
I'm thinking it must be.
I think it's A.
That doesn't match anything.
I see it A.
Nope. Have to call Tiffany.
Hey, you're right.
I have to.
He's right.
Don't listen to me. Exactly.
So
I am
D.
smart. AC.
You guys think you got them yet? Not quite? Well, once you get one, make sure you don't look at it again. Right? Cross it out. Think about where we have the up and down, the vertical translations. Where do we have the horizontal translations, right and left? Do we have any reflections? What makes the graph reflect about the x or about the y? Collins, you got them all? All right, cool. Boyer? Oh, nice. Jordan, you already got them all. Wow, you guys are good. All right, here we go then. So, looking at this first one, what's this negative out front of the whole thing doing to it? Reflecting it about which axis? The x. So, our parent function, our parent graph is right there, right? For quadratics for our parabolas. So since there's a negative there, it's either A, D, or E, right? Because it's been flipped. It opens down, right? And you guys, remember when we did the very beginning of the year, we worked on some of this? When did it open up and when did it open down? If the A value was positive, it opened up, and if the A value was down, or negative, it opened down. And we talked about vertex form of a parabola or of a quadratic, okay? And we're going to revisit that today. So what does this inside tell us is happening? If it was an x minus 2 inside, it was going to move right 2, correct? So the negative sign out front flips it, and then the x minus 2 inside the parentheses means it's a horizontal shift to the right 2. So that would be D, wouldn't it? So D goes with function A. All right? All right, here, do we have any negative out front making it flip? Reflect? No, right? So it's going to be one of the 3 that are going up. And then, again, we're shifting it how far? In which direction? Right 2. And what's this plus 2 telling us? Vertically, it tells us up 2, right? So if we're looking at C, we went right 2 and up 2, didn't we? From our original spot. So that would be C. Here we got that negative out front again, so what's happening? So reflecting it, right? Flipping it. So it's either A or E. Now we got a plus 2, so which way is it moving? Inside. It's going left 2, and then the minus 2 makes it go down 2. So this one's flipped in A, left 2 and down 2, right? So C's function matches A's graph. All right? When you have that number out front of the whole thing there, what's that telling you? Is that a stretch or a compression at 0.5? The vertical what? If it's 1/2 is 0.5. Is that a compression or a stretch? It's a compression, right? So it's going to make it a little fatter vertically, right? So they're going to push it down. All right? It's not any negative, so it still goes up. The x minus 2 means it's moving which way? Right 2, and then the minus 2 makes it go down 2, right? So this F looks a little bit wider than the rest of them, doesn't it? Looks like it's scrunched a little bit, and our vertex has moved 2 to the right and 2 down. So D goes with graph F. All right? Now, looking at E and F, this process of elimination, you see that negative with F, which means it's going to do what, the parabola? Go down, right? So it's got to go with E, right? So that means this one must be B. Okay? And it's a little skinnier, right? It's a vertical stretch because it's a 2. So it made it a little bit longer, stretched it, so it made it a little skinnier, and it moved right too. So just kind of a process of elimination. And that's without even looking at it in our calculators, right? We could just put in our calculators and then do it real quick. Okay? But you guys have done this enough. I think you're already seeing when it moves right, left, up, and down. Okay? All right, so you guys have seen this before. this is what we call vertex form of our quadratic. We did a little review before we even got into the book with those quadratics, graphing parabolas and graphing lines, remember? All right, so when this a value was greater than 0, positive, it opened up, and when the a value was negative, it opened down. That's our reflection stuff, right? Okay, reflection about the x-axis is flipping it down. All right, remember that the vertex was the point H, K. All right, but what happened when it was, what do we always say? Like if it was x minus 3, if it was this, let's just say it was x minus 3 squared plus 2. What's the vertex? What did we say when it was inside the parentheses? Was it negative 3 or was it positive 3? According to what you know now about translations. Nobody's going to answer for me? Well, think of where it's at to start. Where's the vertex at in our parent function? Where's the vertex? 0, 0, right? So if it's x minus 3, which way is it moving? Come on. To the right. 3, correct? We all know that now. You guys knew that yesterday, right? So if I go from here, right 3, what number is that on the x? 3, right? Positive 3. So remember what we said, it's the opposite of what was inside it when we did the vertex. Since it's x minus 3, we know the x value of the vertex is positive 3. And then the y value of the vertex is whatever this number was. So that's why we call it vertex form, because we could look at these two numbers, h and k, and tell what the vertex of the parabola was. Okay? So just a quick review of vertex form, and that's how all of these were. Okay? So this would have been 2, 0 was the vertex. Where's D? Right here. 2, 0 is the vertex. Right? This one would have been negative 2, 2. All right? So negative 2, 2, that's right there. Okay? So just vertex form of our quadratic will maybe save you a little time if you go back to what we had learned earlier this year. But again, now that you know translations, moving right and left and up and down, you know what's going on, where that vertex will be. All right, so a quadratic function is a function that can be written in that form. Again, that's vertex form. A is not 0. It's a U-shaped graph called a parabola. We've done this before. Okay? So just reviewing here, you've seen all this stuff. Okay? Horizontal translations, we're doing something to the x value. We're moving it right or left. If h is a negative, you go left, because it'll be x minus a negative h or plus h. So it actually goes the opposite direction, remember? If h is a positive number, it goes right, because x minus a positive number, you go the opposite way. All right, so it shifts left when h is a negative, shifts right when h is a positive. Again, because it starts out as x minus all the time. All right, vertical translations, it's the k. As the k is positive, it moves up. If the k is negative, it moves down. Stuff we already know. Reflections, about the x-axis, it's a negative for the whole thing. The y-axis, the negative's inside. But what happens when I square negative x? What's negative x times negative x? It's still positive x squared, right? And all it's doing is flipping. Well, if it just flips along the y, it still looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Because that y-axis is our axis of symmetry, right? Those parabolas that open up and down always have a vertical axis of symmetry. Okay? And then we had our horizontal stretches, and we call them compressions instead of shrinks. When it's horizontal, what do we have to remember? It was reciprocal, right? That was the key point. Reciprocal. So if it was a horizontal by a factor of 2, we would multiply just the x part inside here by 1/2. If it was a horizontal compression of 1/2, then we would multiply the inside part, the x part, by 2. So remember the reciprocal on the horizontal ones. Vertical ones, we just multiply by whatever factor they tell us by the whole thing, the y or the whole f of x. Again, review stuff we've already done, right? Are we paying attention?
Yes.
Okay? Seems like you guys are kind of zoned out today. Let's keep up the good work. You did really well yesterday. All right, so here's it says describe the transformation of f of x equals x squared, and then graph each function. So let's graph the parent function. Remember, if x is 0, what's 0 squared? 0. So that's a 0, 0. If x is 1, what's 1 squared? 1. If x is 2, what's 2 squared? Right? 4, right? If x is -1, what's -1 times -1? Positive 1, right? If x is -2, what's -2 times -2? Positive 4, right? So that's why it looks like that. That's why it's that parabola right there with the vertex at 0, 0. That's our parent function, our f function. All right? Our g function, what are we doing? Or what's our vertex? Using vertex form. What's x plus 4 tell us the x value is? -4, right? What's the -1 tell us? -1, right? So basically we're moving left 4, which we knew from yesterday what we've been doing, and down 1, right? And that's where that vertex is. -4, -1, there's my vertex. Okay? So I could put numbers in. I could put 1 in there. 1 plus 4 is 5. Squared is, well, I guess, -3, I guess. -3 plus 4 is -1. Squared is 1. Minus 1 would be 0. Or I could just go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. From these points already. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. So here's our g function. Again, review, right? We're just concentrating on quadratics today, parabolas. Questions? It's making sense? Mr. Collins, you should probably put that on. Thanks. All right. What's happening here? All right. So we're doing x squared again. So our parent function is still 0, 0, 1, 1, -1, 1, 2, 4, -2, 4. So just do that right away. when you do your graphs. Okay? So what's the negative telling us? Oops. What's this negative telling us? What's it do? Reflects it, right? Turns it down. Okay? And then the 1/2 in front compresses it vertically, right? So it's going to make it look a little fatter, right? Because I'm going to compress it up and down this way, right? A little wider. All right? So we'll do that in blue again for the G. And so it flips. And if I put 0 in there, okay? So if this Y value is 1, what's half of 1? 1/2, right? Oops, I missed that spot. Let me do that again. Still not very good. If it's -1, or it's 1 again, and half of that's 1/2, right? Again, I missed. Why am I off today? Just old age setting in, huh? If my Y value is 4, what's half of 4? 2, right? On both sides. So when I draw this, does this look a little bit wider than the red one? Okay, so remember, when you're multiplying half by the whole thing, you're multiplying half of your Y values. Okay? Or you just put your -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 into the equation. And then take half and negative, it flips it down and stuff. All right? Now, what did they multiply by here? Again, it's x squared again. We'll do our parent function. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, -1, 1, -2, 4. There's our parent function, our f of x. Okay? So our g, what did we do this time? Tristan?
Horizontal compression.
Horizontal compression, right? We multiplied by 2, which is the reciprocal of 1/2 to the x only. But if I simplify that, all right, that comes out to 4x squared plus 1, right? So I still have my, if I put 0 in, what's 4 times 0 squared? 0, isn't it? Plus 1 is a 1, right? So it moved it up 1, right? We knew that by, remember the outside part. All right, so if I go 1 in there, all right, you put it in the original or in here. 1 squared is 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5, right? So 1, 5, -1, 5 would be the same. If I put 2 in there, 2 squared is 4 times 4 is 16 plus 1 is 17. So it's way up here, right? So it's going to keep it. So as a horizontal compression, it pushed it this way, which made it skinnier, right? Horizontally compressed, made it skinnier. All right? Does that make sense? Again, you got your calculators that can help you with this as well. All right? So that's basically all we're doing. Just working with quadratics, parabolas in this section. Okay? So, there's your assignment. Okay? I want to show you something that maybe you guys didn't know that might help you. You know, you have these videos that I do, but also your book has videos also. All right? So if I go to let's see here. To my Algebra 2 and my Big Ideas Math tool to go to my book. All right. And you gotta hit ebook, right? You guys been using your online book, or you been using the physical one? All right, so what page we got? 50, right? Hopefully it'll show up. All right, there's 50. You can hit this to zoom in a little bit if you want. And then make sure you have the pointer tool on. And you see this number 7 with the blue around it? It's got this little red spot. You can hit that and it'll give you a video of that problem. This guy doing, so some math guy or girl doing that problem for you if you get stuck on those types of problems. All right, so it's another way, a different person, maybe they say a little bit different than I do, that might help something click for you. So if you get stuck, you can always do that. So I just wanted to show you that so that you knew about that, if you didn't, which I probably didn't. All right? So, any questions? All right.